Hi guys, welcome along to the channel. Today I'm going to do a day trip to Salzburg. So I'm at Munich main station at the moment and I'm waiting for a railjet train, which is the high-speed Austrian trains, to take me down to Salzburg. So as soon as the train pulls in, I can board onto my carriage and give you a view of what the seating looks like inside the train.
If you have a spare day while you're in Munich, a great option is to visit the city of Salzburg, just inside the Austrian border. It's completely doable as a day trip. The journey down is between 1 hour and 45 minutes and 2 hours, depending on the type of train that you want to take. But say you set off at 8 AM in the morning, you could be back by 6 in the evening in Munich and feel as though you've had a really good taste of the city. The population is only about 150,000, so it's a relatively small city. Today I'm going to be travelling on the Austrian railjet train, which is the high-speed train from Austria. Just to give you an idea of the cost, guys, this return ticket that I bought for this particular trip was approximately €67 for a first-class seat, both going down to Salzburg and coming back. So €67, pretty reasonable I think, considering that you're travelling into another country and travelling first class as well. Pretty much the way that it works is, the more in advance that you buy the ticket, the less you pay. You know, if you buy your ticket the day before the journey or on the day of the journey, it can end up being more expensive. Your ticket will tell you which carriage that you're on the train, and once you've located your carriage, you can get on. And as I say, treated myself today to a first class seat. It's also in the Ruhe zone, or the quiet area of the train, the quiet area of first class, so that you can have a peaceful journey down there. Again, you refer to your ticket, you find out which seat you're on. I was seat number 61 there, very easy to locate. And once you've got your place, I mean the carriage was fairly empty. Once you've got your place, you can set yourself up for your journey down there. And I have to say the journey down there is absolutely fantastic with the Bavarian Alps as you're tracking along. Plenty of time to relax, get some work done, and also there's a buffet car on the train, so if you fancy having a meal on the journey down there, you can certainly do that as well. Just adjacent to where I was sitting in first class, there was the business class area, so I thought I'd take a little wander in there to see what business class was all about. Completely empty. But if you are doing some business on your journey, again, it's a very comfortable area to be in. Groups of 2, single seats, groups of 2, groups of 4. So if you're travelling as a business team, you could even have meetings on the train. And as I say, because of the buffet car, if you're using it for business purposes, you can also have a meal on the train. Well, it has to be said, guys, absolutely delighted with the railjet first class. It's a very, very relaxed way of actually getting down to Salzburg. I'm on a carriage with 2 other people. I've even just wandered into business class to make this little clip, to sit down in a little bit of luxury. The business class is absolutely empty, but it's very, very relaxed, very enjoyable ride down. And one of the great things about the journey to Salzburg by train is the views that you get of the Bavarian Alps. And yeah, I'm going to show you some of that as we go along on the journey. But because it's a nice clear sunny day today, you should see some spectacular scenery on the way down there. Enjoy.
Frankfurt.
Well, that was all very convivial, guys. Arrived on time, an hour and 45 minutes. Here we are at Salzburg station. Once you get to Salzburg station, guys, you've got a couple of options. It's about a 15-20 minute walk into the centre of the city, or you can take one of the buses from the bus station, which is directly outside of the station. So yeah, as I mentioned there, folks, you can get the buses into the centre of the city from this bus station right outside the station. On this occasion though, because I know the lie of the land down here, having done tours down here in the past, I actually walked to my first port of call, which is the Mirabell Gardens. The Mirabell Gardens, next to the Mirabell Palace, famous for the do-re-mi scene in The Sound of Music. So I remember back in the day, in the earlier 2000s, coming down here, tourists literally dressed up in all the gear so that they could sing do-re-mi on the steps here, just like in the movie. Now I'm going to take a little walk through the garden here, guys, to show you what it looks like. Bear in mind though that we are in February 2023 here, so we're in the middle of the winter. And you don't get to see the Mirabell in all its splendour and glory at this time of the year. That would be from the spring going into the summer, when these flower arrangements on these grassed beds here are absolutely magnificent. They take great pride in the maintenance of the Mirabell Gardens, and when you come down here as a tourist, you can see the gardeners working away diligently right through the summer period and in the winter as well. But when you come to the city, the Mirabell Gardens is definitely somewhere that you want to visit. Not just as a tourist location, but you can bring a packed lunch or something like that into the garden and sit down on a bench and just enjoy the atmosphere and have something to eat and just get a feel for the city. So Mirabell Gardens, definitely on the list of things to do. So as we exit at the other end of the Mirabell Gardens, right opposite us as we come across the street is one of the Mozart locations. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Salzburg's most famous son, or one of Salzburg's most famous sons, and that's the Mozart Wohnhaus, or his living house, that he lived in later years. Just around the corner from the Mozart Wohnhaus is the Sacher Hotel, the most prestigious hotel in the city, and the Sacher Cafe is associated with the hotel as well. So another place that I would recommend is the Sacher Cafe, so that you can have the Sacher Torte, which is the famous cake down here in Salzburg. Crossing over the bridge into the old town. These locks have been on this bridge for many years now,
It's a romantic city, Salzburg as well, so couples to come down here for honeymoons and so forth. Declarations of love on the bridge, on these padlocks, and they'll probably be there forever. Let's hope so anyway. The bridge takes us over the river Salzach, which is the river going through the centre of the city, which splits it into two parts: the new town, where the station is, the railway station, and the old town, where Getreidegasse is, the old shopping street, which we'll be taking a little walk down in a moment. Well, it has to be said, guys, I'm absolutely amazed. The weather down here in Salzburg today is phenomenal. It's February the 22nd, and really it's like the first spring day that I've noticed this year, that's for sure. Feels like it's around about 12-13 degrees, and I looked at the weather forecast and it said it's going to get up to around about 15 degrees, so gotten really lucky with the weather today coming down here. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, the great thing about Salzburg is that it's such a small city that you can cover a lot of ground in the time that you're here. I mean, I've been in the city now, arrived around about 10 o'clock, it was 9:59, and I've been walking around the city for around about 2 hours. Admittedly, I do know where to go because having been a tour guide down here back in the day, I know how to directly get to places. If you're arriving as a tourist, obviously you have to orientate yourself, and maybe one of the best things to do is when you arrive at the Salzburg train station is go straight to the information centre so that you can get some leaflets so you know exactly where you need to go. So approaching the Getreidegasse, which is the old shopping street through the old town, and the most noticeable location there is the Mozart Geburtshaus, or the birth house of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and there's a great museum in there. Taking a little walk up the Getreidegasse as well, some great cafes and restaurants, and just general shopping up here with its very unique ambience, with the little shop signs that you can see hanging over the shops. It's a characteristic feature of it. And this area of the Getreidegasse here, which was the old Jewish quarter going back historically. Lovely little alleyways come off of the Getreidegasse as well, such as this one here. Very, very authentic, very, very oldie world feel to it. Salzburg is a very unique city, and the architecture of the churches, as you can see, is absolutely magnificent. If you're into your church architecture, you've got to come and visit Salzburg. Predominantly a Catholic region again, just like Munich, and of course here the Salzburg Cathedral, where Mozart was baptized. Another consideration on your day trip, guys, is to take a visit up to the Festung Hohensalzburg, which is the fortress that you can see here. There's a funicular railway that takes you from ground level up to the fortress, and on a nice clear sunny day like today it offers fantastic views around the surrounding landscape. This is the little street here, the little kiosk where you buy your tickets to get the Festungsbahn up to the fortress. And just adjacent to the fortress is the St. Peter's Cemetery, a very unique cemetery with the cliff face of the Munchersberg, which is the mountain that you can see adjacent. And you can see that there's some little structures built into the side of the Munchersberg mountain there, that little cliff face. That's where the Salzburg catacombs are. And while you're down in the city as well, you can pay at the kiosk to take a little walk through the catacombs as well. Definitely an experience worth doing. And this is the location where you can buy tickets to go in and see the catacombs, the burial chambers inside the Monchersberg mountain. So the square just adjacent to St. Peter's Church, and another possibility for you when you're down here is the St. Peter's Keller, the restaurant, which has the reputation of being the oldest restaurant in Europe, and they do magnificent performances of Mozart classical music while you're having your meal in there as well, so that's a great option for you. So coming back across the bridge from the old town now, guys, we're heading back. We can see the Salzburg Hotel again on the bank of the river. And thanks ever so much for joining me on this little trip down to Salzburg. Just a brief overview. I'm thinking of doing these trips at different times of the year as well, so that you get a flavour of what it's like depending on the season, because obviously we have tourists coming down here right through the year, whether it be Christmas or high summer. So look forward to more videos for you, and hopefully I'll see you in Munich very soon. All the best and take care.